a pretty hustler, and I am the CEO of Spill Entertainment, multimedia and promotions platform. I want to give a round of applause for everybody coming out today. Thank you so much. The gents and the ladies, don't forget about you guys. Thank you, CP. Oh my God, thank you so much. Yes. I want to announce our panelist for this evening, or our speaker for this evening, who I'm going to pick her brain because she is a media maven herself, Miss Tee Goodwin. Yes. Have a seat, my dear.
Okay, she was plus size, good.
Yo, when I sat down, I was like, thank you so much for coming and chatting with me. I really appreciate it.
Yes.
Sharing your words of wisdom for all of these ladies. You know, you see business owners, guests. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, this is going to be a good time.
Yes, absolutely. Why don't you let everybody know what it is that you do and where you come from? I heard you said Philly in the building. Philly's in the building.
We made it. But like she said, my name is Tee Goodwin, and I am a mogul in the making. I do a little bit of everything. I'm a creative director, I'm a brand strategist, also a media maven, and just love helping people find their purpose through their business. And that's the most important part, because why start a business if you're not passionate about it, right? So that's my biggest takeaway from anything that I do with any clients or any room that I step into, making sure that you're on the right path to do what you need to do.
Absolutely, I feel that for sure. How did you get started in your business?
Oh my goodness. Being a creative, I really tapped into it actually at the age of 8 years old. My mom bought my first computer, and I was literally like typing my homework in the 3rd grade.
I'm not about to ask you what
who's typing their homework in the 3rd grade, right? So I'm like, why my mom so Joe? You know, that's the line we used back then. Why my mom so Joe? Why she out here making me do my homework on the computer? So when it was time to do projects and all that kind of stuff, like we were like super extra with like everything. And I'm like, why do we have to do this, right? When I got older, I kind of stepped into the event planning industry, which was my first love. I did it for 10 plus years, and I did all types of events, from weddings to birthday parties. And then I kind of wanted to find my niche, because I'm like, some of these kind of events give me a headache more than others. So I said, you know what, I know I'm a socialite, so I want to be able to put myself in rooms where I can also benefit. So I started doing more social events. So of course, like our conferences, seminars, networking events, book launches, that kind of thing. And then after a while, I was just like, oh, it's not for me anymore. I'll just publicize that as like a luxury service versus a service that everybody knows about.
Right.
So as I was going through that journey, I mean, of course, people need marketing materials, because everything is a branding experience, right? So people needed marketing materials, whether it was invitations, you know, all those type of things, and I was designing those things myself. So I was like, oh, this might be something I can kind of get into. So I started doing it, logos and websites and all that kind of stuff, and I stayed there for a little bit. After a while, I was just like, I can't deal with these clients. Like, you have to be real with yourself. I can't deal with these clients anymore, but I know it's something bigger on a creative scale that I want to do.
Right.
So I said, all right, branding on this level is cool, but let me kind of like take a little bit into like production a little bit. So that's what I do now. So I'm more of your photo girl, your video girl, you know, putting together short films, like that kind of stuff. And then once I got into, right a little bit before COVID, people were saying like, oh, T, you should start your own show. So I'm like, okay, I can start my own little show. What is it going to be called? All this other stuff. I'm like, oh my God, so many elements and levels to this thing. So I said, all right, let me sleep on it a little bit. And that's what I ended up doing. So I then started my own podcast, actually a year and a half right before COVID.
Yes.
And then I'm currently in season 6 of my podcast, and I learned how to also take my podcast and use it as a media outlet. So then that way, which led me to red carpets, it led me to movie premieres, it led me to Essence, it led me to the Stellar Awards. So people have to understand that sometimes, like you can see, you know, everybody's doing this podcast wave right there.
That's a fact.
Everybody's doing this podcast wave, but it's more than just a conversation with the people you're in the room with. If you really are passionate and using purpose for the foundation, then it's something bigger and greater you need to do. So that's where we are now.
I love that. You have a long journey. Let's clap it up for that.
And it's not over, right?
The journey is not over.
No.
It's been very extensive, and from going from just knowing that this is not my passion right here, but maybe I could take it a step further, use the skills and develop and make it something that I'm actually passionate about.
Correct.
What were some of your biggest challenges going, because that's a lot to have to go through?
I think one of my biggest challenges on the business side was actually just trying to understand who I wanted to attract.
Right.
Who's your target market? Because people's biggest issue is, oh, I didn't get any sales this month, or you know, I don't know what's going on, or I always attract all the ratchet girls. You know, like people really have to figure out what their target market is, because when you understand who is the actual customer, who will be receiving this, and will it be longevity attached to that? That's the biggest component. And understanding that and taking the time out to understand who your target market is very, very important. So this is why it's important to get services like branding consultations and having these sessions with people who specialize in this, because they'll be able to put the blueprint or assist with the blueprint, because the blueprint already exists. Assist with the blueprint to be able to get you further in your business. So I think just understanding who my target market was one of my biggest things. But of course, like, life happened. So before I even went into business, my mom passed away. Then my grandmother passed away. Then my great-grandma passed away. So it was a lot of death as well. So I did a lot of healing through entrepreneurship as well. So, you know, just battling everyday life journey. And then also on top of that, you know, dealing with business.
I totally sympathize with you and empathize with you as well. Like, going through some type of trauma and trying to heal from that as a female entrepreneur, because y'all know we go through emotions every day. I'm going through emotions right now.
All day, every day.
I was hungry, I'm sleepy, and now I'm excited. I love my emotions, right? So we go through emotions a lot. Like, what would you say, like, give advice to the female entrepreneurs out there that are always going through, you know, the ups and downs of not only entrepreneurship, but life? Like, how can they navigate that and still be on the up and up when it comes to their business?
So I literally just put up on my Facebook post, maybe like a day or two ago, I said, if you need to stop business to handle business, do it.
Ooh, a word.
Do it. If you need to stop business to handle business, that's absolutely fine. And when you come back stronger, you come back more knowledgeable. But even then, sometimes you may even come back with a whole different vision. That business that you had then may not even exist anymore. You might decide to dissolve it and then maybe even pass it on. Maybe some who have children, so you know you might want to pass it on to a child or a niece, a nephew, or whatever. But sometimes when you're in a mental space, especially when you're dealing with trauma or grief or anything like that, that vision is just for that moment. So as you're going through your healing journey, you now have a whole new vision. So it's like, okay, now I feel like I can start from scratch, but sometimes it might be for the better good.
Yes, it started for exactly what you said. Starting from scratch can be for the better good. Like, it's just on the outlook on how you look at things.
That's right.
So what's your self-care routine like?
Oh my gosh.
Because the hair is giving, the outfit is giving, so I'm sure, you know, like, you're outside.
Really, outside, all the way outside. My self-care routine may look different than others and may also look the same as others. I do a lot of praying. Faith is one of the biggest things. Yes. I cannot move in business or even in my personal life without some kind of foundation, which is my faith in God. So whoever believes in God, or whoever you believe in, make sure you stand 10 feet, 10 toes down. You know, that's what they say now, 10 toes down, all this kind of stuff, right? So you have to have your faith. So I pray a lot, I meditate a lot, I socialize with positive people, which also we get to pour into each other, you know. I also do, like, I get like massages and I get my nails and stuff done, but those things, I had a good conversation with a guest on my podcast back in like my 3rd season, and we talk about self-care all the time on the podcast. And he told me, he said, people have to get out of this illusion that the hair and the nails and maybe taking a trip or something like that is self-care. He said it's all well and good, but when you're thinking about self-care, you have to think about the things that give long-term results. So you know that, okay, some people like to go to the gym. So if you like to go to the gym, we know what the benefits are of going to the gym. You start looking good, you start feeling good, but then also it helps internally. So now you might have good heart health. You might have, good, you might not have an offer on your knees no more, It's so many things that come with that. So when you're thinking about self-care habits or strategies or methods that you want to kind of put into your lifestyle, think about things and think about how long it can last. Think about all the things it can benefit, whether it's your mental, your spiritual, your physical, your emotional health. So those are the key things. And I do a whole bunch of other things, like take day trips like today.
That's a day trip coming from Philly. That is a day trip.
Okay, it's a whole day trip.
We were just talking about that travel, girl. Yeah, so I get it. Absolutely. I understand. How do you deal with bias within your industry? In the entertainment field, blink twice. Blink twice if you're okay. In the entertainment field, it's really a male-dominated industry for the most part, and we deal with things like, people not wanting us to talk to us about meetings and people not including us in certain, events or partnerships. So how do you deal with that? How do you navigate through that?
I was just telling my sister last night, going through these questions, and I was just like, when I got to this question, I said, just keep fucking going. Just keep fucking going. I mean, we ain't got no kids here, so it's okay if I cuss a little bit, right? So just keep going. I was telling her, like, granted, like on my branding side, it's kind of more female dominated. But when it comes to the media side, it's not even just men, it's also black versus white.
Oh, God.
And that's the biggest thing. Like when we're on red carpets, these stars and celebrities, influencers, they go to the white media reporters. They don't go to the black ones or the brown ones or Hispanic. You know what I'm saying? They don't go to these people. So that only makes me go harder. I do not allow that to hold me back at all because I've been in corporate, I've been in nonprofit, I've been in for-profit, so I've been in all these spaces.